White people.
White people would be a fun show. That's how you bridge the gap.
White people honking around.
Because, like, there's too much hate. But playful racism, we got to reinforce that in the community.
No one wants to touch racism anymore, like, playfully.
Just lighthearted. Like, white people do be doing that. So you started off with white people.
Are you the work black girl?
Yeah.
White people do be doing that. The only black girl.
She's grown up around white people her entire life. But she's the black person at the office. It's like, because at the cookout, yep, that's what we do. Some people have such a lack of personality that they're excited by stereotypes. You know how many Mexican people I know that are just like, I'm Mexican.
And some dude did that to me today.
Yeah.
At the register. He was literally like, "You never tried, like, Mexican grown weed, right?" And I go, "I don't know."
It's stereotypically not good.
I couldn't tell you. He was telling me it was the best. I'm like, I'm like, really?
I mean, people associate that with like the garbage bag of weed for $20.
Well, that's what I mean. It's like, yo, this shit's grown in like a lab, in like a warehouse under like.
And the outdoor shit that's good is grown in like the Pacific Northwest. And
yeah, like, what are you talking about?
Not
they
Mexico.
might have some good weed. I don't know.
Acapulco Gold. Yeah. That's Mexico, right?
You told me like good cocaine. Sure.
Even then, that's like South America, right?
That's more like Bolivia. I feel like Colombia. Straight from Bolivia. I'm not going to Mexico for weed. I'll tell you that much.
I'd love to go to Mexico for pyramids, but the liberal media has me convinced that despite everyone being perfect, it's crazy that everyone is like good enough to come to this country on the news, but also every country is full of criminals, also according to the news, and you'll die if you go there.
Yeah, you can't. But then, I talk
like, we're just getting the good ones?
Yeah.
How can both be true?
I talk to Mexican people that come in, and I'm like, would I be okay to go to the pyramids? And, like, a lot of them say yes. Mm-hmm. Some of them say no, but which those I trust more than the other ones.
Well, half the Mexican people we talk to know about it as much as we do, but just are Mexican.
Yeah, that's true.
But they're Mexican in the way that we're Italian. Someone asked us what's going on in Italy. We'd be like, you'd be fine. I hear the food's good. Like,
it's great. It's
I don't fucking know.
Beautiful countryside.
Yeah. Like, my aunt went to Sicily, and she said it was real nice.
My great-grandmother was from Italy.
Never got used to America. 90-something years here.
Hated.
Yeah. Always wanted to go home. So that's got to say something.
I would do it.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if I'd pay for it.
At this stage of my fiscal life,
yeah.
I don't think I can.
I also don't know, like, I'd feel like I'd be walking through the Vatican like an asshole while everybody's doing the, look at that.
I could give a fuck about
Christian,
doing that.
It's the spaceman.
They're equally as assholes.
Yeah. They're in on it.
No,
they're just not open-minded.
Who are you talking about?
I'm talking about, like, everybody going there because it's like, oh, the Pope. Oh.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They give a fuck about some dickhead.
That's true. And they should just be accepting.
It's not like if you went to some local church and were like disrupting some people's like sermon that they care about. These are all people that have enough money to go on vacation to fucking Rome.
That's the thing too. Yeah.
And they're gonna go tell their dickhead brothers and cousins and uncles like, yeah, went down to the Vatican. Like,
saw Leo at the Vatican.
These are people that cheat on their wives. Like, they don't
give a shit.
Yeah,
they don't care.
No.
Ugh.
These are people that watch Goodfellas and in their head are like, I'm religious too, because I wear a cross. Boondock Saints was the most religious time I've ever.
Yeah. It's like my shitbag uncle. He wears a cross, but he's a piece of shit. He just wears a cross. It's like the guys that wear like the big silver cross. That's like, it's got like the sharp edges and shit.
Catholicism is like a way to show your level of Italian. It's not like actually a connection. It's like a religion.
No, I'm more Italian.
I mean, me and the father of my church attend the same horse track. We talk there. I'm not going to go to church every Sunday, but I see the guy.
I got the Vatican tattooed on my chest with the Italian flag in the background.
Yeah, I used to have this bitch's name on my arm, but I got it covered up, so now it's the Twin Towers. And it's the Pope. He's dissolving the Arabs in the planes before they can hit him. He's protecting the towers.
He's zapping them like Palpatine.
Yeah.
He's fucking... He's saving the towers.
But not like he's got a white robe, like a Jedi.
Like a Jedi. Let me ask you real quick. Is that Pope Donald Trump?
Be like, hey, how did you afford this vacation? Oh, my family does construction. I haven't worked in 35 years.
I haven't. I collect a paycheck.
Yeah. Let me ask you, how many rings do you have on your finger? 7.
Each ring has a memory to me.
Much like my tattoos. Again, the towers, the Pope. It's all very symbolic. Like, is it? It seems very literal. It seems like the Pope is literally protecting the town.
It's draped in symbology. I heard something about, the church is where you make it. Or is that a Jewish thing? That might be a Jewish thing.
I'm so sick of all this fucking news about Jewish people. This is like the same thing as black people now, where I feel like all black people must be pissed off at this like small amount of people that get on the news and talk for them. Like the Jews that are on TV right now whining about Israel, most Jews in regular life are probably like, dude, why are you...
Pump the brakes.
Why are you making it hard for me to go to work tomorrow?
Yeah.
Because you're being such a little bitch about shit.
Yeah. We don't have many Jewish people here. Like, I don't talk to many Jewish people in life, but I feel like you're saying like the average Jew is like, yo, can we fucking stop with this Israel bullshit?
Because all Jews get lumped together, and it's like, yo, Jews that give a fuck about Israel over here, like, that's not us. Like, I'm like ethnically Jewish. I don't give a fuck about Israel. I would like them to stop killing Palestinians.
I feel like if you're like that, though, you're not presenting yourself as Jewish. You're not.
Yeah, but if you still have a Jewish name or you got curly hair.
Why you got to make it hard for me to go to work and deal with my friends? Because you're up here talking about... I got an Arab friend. I love the Palestinian chicken. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Most people don't give a fuck.
Why you make it hard for
But then
me?
you got people that are actually like in politics. The dude's running for mayor and he keeps talking shit to the one guy as if it has anything. He's like, he makes me feel unsafe that he won't recognize Israel's right to exist as a Jewish state. I'm like, bro.
What was that one thing you sent me about the UN on 10 November 75, comprising of a Soviet Union and a third world nations, passed a resolution over strenuous American and Israeli opposition, declaring Zionism to be a form of racism. The resolution was repealed at the end of the Cold War.
The Soviet Union wanted it to be considered racist to be a Zionist, to be that in... Because if it's anything else, you
that's
call
a
it...
level of extremism.
Yeah, anything else would be nationalism. But for some reason, it's okay to be a Zionist. And America, of course, and Israel were like, no, it isn't. And then the whole Cold War goes on. Cold War ends, and then they repeal the decision.
Of course.
So you wonder, like, if that was an aspect of the terms or whatever. Like, hey, chill on Israel.
As I read through that book, it's like you realize, and this is going to come off crazy, but they got hands in, like, every single war, brother. And I'm not, and, like, listen, we're not anti-Semitic.
I just did a whole speech about how most of them are good. We can talk about the ones that are
That's fine.
heavily involved in everything.
Heavily involved, brother. Like, connected.
Fucking white people that are regular, and then there's white people that look like the Rockefellers, where you look like a goddamn lizard. The Rothschilds, where you go, whoa.
What the fuck?
That's just inbreeding, because that looks like something else.
You're living on baby fuel. You're fucking sucking you're fucking snapping at the neck and sucking the juice out.
They look like they have like mortician makeup on. They're all just like,
ooh, yeah, like plastered together. Like we were saying earlier, there's different. You got white trash, you got Jew trash.
Yeah, I'm just gonna start slapping trash onto that this shit.
Because you can't
slur,
and you don't want, and nobody wants to.
I mean,
no,
I'd love to, but I was thinking about this the other. Like, can't we just all agree that the N-word just means a bad person that we don't like? No other word has any bite on it. I try to call women cunts, and it doesn't even do anything for me. You know what I mean? Like, there's no bite on anything.
You're saying like
the N-word's the only
You're saying like
thing.
to call a white woman the N-word.
Yeah, anyone that's bothering you, you can just call them the N-word. Again, it'll lose its meaning in a year from now or whatever, because I'll wear it out like cunt and every other word. But to drop an N-bomb, you really release some hate from your heart.
And but not directed at black people.
Well, this is the thing. For equality, it would have to include them. But there would be a sense of like, I'm not going to use it for black people. Come on.
No, what do you say?
It'd be like in the rule, it does count for them, like in the technical definition, but it's almost like an unspoken rule amongst people. Like,
technically, you could. But
they're doing such a service by stopping to say it in like rap and stuff. Unless we just delineate like the A from the ER as two separate words.
That's two separate things.
Which I think they can be, because when you are rapping along and it's an A, you don't feel hate at all. That's the same word as bro and dude and shit. When you say it with an ER, you go, ooh, that is powerful. I felt strong just then.
I felt generations of.
It almost makes you believe in magic, because you're like, wow, like, can a word carry such power,
such weight?
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. There's words like cunt and like other slurs that if you really put hate behind it,
some bite on it,
it'll sound okay. But like, that's the only one that really gets the point across of what I'm feeling,
of how I'm feeling. He's got to make up a new word. You got to start new slang.
Yeah, but that's like white slurs. They don't do anything. It's like, hey, cracker. It's like,
yeah. I actually like it. I kind of think it's funny. Cracker comes off odd, but like I love honk. Like a good honk. That's fun.
Honk is a tremendous word, yeah.
Yeah. There was another one I thought of. I can't remember.
Gringo's good.
Ooh, I like a gringo.
What do they say in Balls of Fury?
Wilo.
Wilo's good. Any white slur I've heard, me and my friends have usually adopted into
our... Yeah, I like it.
Like,
ooh, that's a good one.
Into our vernacular.
That's something to call my friend.
Yeah. What's up, Guilo? Or I'll call like my Mexican friend Gringo, because it's like, oh, it's like a Mexican word, right?
Exactly.
Call guy Christian Gringo. He doesn't know what's going on.
He don't know. Yeah.
He asked me for conspiracy theories the other day, and I gave him Jews. And I was
he on that?
No. He was talking about how he misses Kobe, and I was like, why don't you go look into that conspiracy theory? And he's like, they didn't kill him, did they? I'm like,
oh, no.
Like, I don't know, look into it.
You're going to really hurt his feelings.
And he's like, where do I start? And I sent him like the middle school that Kobe attended when he moved back from Italy to America, to Philly. Fucking plane collided with a helicopter and crashed into the middle school that Kobe had to like finish before going into high school, famous Lower Merion. So I don't know what the full story is, but I've heard War Mode bring it up. I've heard people bring it up. So I just
Did that just happen when he was younger?
A fucking helicopter crashed into the school at like right after he moved back there, and then he dies by helicopter and under like mysterious circumstances.
Interesting. That is odd. I would put that under coincidence.
Well, that's one thing. There's other shit to this. I've never looked into the thing. Yeah. I'm just telling him, like, oh, if that's a conspiracy, that if Jews didn't wet your whistle,
how would you look into this and then get back to Jew?
I don't have time for this. I'd love to look into if Kobe got, murdered by helicopter mafias. Yeah. I don't have time for that. I'm invested in trying to figure out cubes and Jew cubes and how that relates back to 9/11 and Jew 9/11 and how that relates back to Bilderberg groups. And well, guess what? Jews are there too. Like
that's the issue, is that it all does lead back to Jews, and you don't even want to say it. You don't even want to bring it up, but it is odd, and that's
what National Treasure 3 was going to be about. It's like, why does every picture have yarmulkes in them and Stars of David everywhere?
This was Nick Cage's passion project. The first two was a ploy to really take off with Disney, and then he was like, I'll self-fund it. I don't even give a shit.
He's like, I chose Disney to make the movie because of his famous hatred of the people.
I did buy the castle as an investment. It bankrupted me. I can't fund the film anymore.
That man was balling. He bought Action Comics #1.
That's cool.
Not if you go bankrupt after.
Yeah. Well, no.
It becomes immediately like, damn, that's what you were spending your money on?
You know what we need, though? We need tendrils out there researching. That's
a network.
A network of researchers. Christian's been looking into things. She was sending me some great Trump videos.
Nice.
Yeah. She also sent me, did you know, with those riots, she sent me these videos. Now, I don't know what this leads into, because this just goes back to like, yeah, there are some bad cops, but there's videos of reporters walking up and they're on the camera and they're like, we're here at the riots. It was like Australia. I can't do Australian, but she was like, what? We're at the riots.
And here at the riots.
We're at the riots. And bro, the camera guy turns and this dude has a fucking gun with rubber bullets in it. And he looks at the reporter and he sees them start filming him and he goes, and dude just shoots this bitch in like the side.
Damn.
The guy's like, you just shot the fucking reporter. This other dude he shot this reporter in the forehead with a rubber bullet. Dude's fucked up. Just odd shit like that. But then you see the other side and they're breaking the curb up.
I truly believe like
they should deport those people.
None of what's happened. I assume a guy hired by the left goes and shoots a rubber bullet at people so they can say that ICE did it. And then I assume that the people on the right pay someone to drop off cinder blocks so that people getting all frenzied are like, well, I wouldn't have brought my own cinder block, but if there's some right here, I guess I'll launch one.
And then you realize that, the people on the right who funded those people and the people on the left who funded those people are just funded by
Bilderberg.
Are just fucking the same fucking people.
The same guys that are in the same fucking country clubs, fucking young, trim together.
No, it's fucked up.
Speaking of young lads and lasses, Project Bluebeam, famously discredited for being a Star Trek plot, which on the surface sounds pretty damning. You go, wow, this guy was just ripping off a Star Trek plot. But bear in mind, that guy's children were taken away from him by the Canadian government, and he died like a week later. He was suicided.
Really?
So on the one hand, you go, some of us are professional and we turn our buzzers off. But so something was going on more than just, you don't suicide a guy and take his kids away because he stole a fucking Star Trek script. So like me and you theorize or speculate, maybe a thing is to leak the information to guys that will put it in their popular media, like shit that's in pop culture. Star Trek takes off. It's like, hey, maybe you make this one of your fucking shows, episodes.
Here's an idea.
Just to dilute the idea that this could be real, and you water it down to the point that it's like, oh, this is sci-fi fantasy bullshit. You know?
Now when Star Trek is doing an episode and it's completely Project Bluebeam, when the conspiracy comes out that the government is planning a Project Bluebeam type thing, people go, that's a Star Trek plot, you fucking moron.
Case closed.
Oh, okay. Oh, I gotcha. That came out in the fucking 80s, you dumbass. But then you also look into the Star Trek guy.
A little bit about your family.
I've been very fortunate in family. I've had 2 marriages, both happy. In my first marriage,
sweet old guy.
Had 2 lovely daughters.
Okay.
And
you have 2 happy marriages.
I had the joy in that marriage of girls. And girls are such delicious, sweet-smelling, wonderful things.
Remember when Biden smelled the girl's hair?
I still remember when they would be so clean and their hair done, their starch dresses, and how when they would.
This is his daughters, not even just young girls,
would come up.
No, yeah, exactly.
You'd see the panties.
What the fuck, dude?
A writer at a loss for words.
Totally beautiful things.
Things.
And I was happy. I was lucky with my girls in that they never had the problems that sometimes some people seem to have with.
They didn't
girls.
fight it.
Not that my daughters didn't have their own problems of dating and so on, but
they weren't abducted like the girls that I hang out with, so they never had problems like that.
They never had to deal with that. What the fuck, dude?
Would you tell us a little
What's
bit
his name? Glenn? No, Gene Roddenberry? What a fucking creep. That's like, and then
Project Bluebeam.
Well, that's the thing too, and then it goes to the same thing with like Elon or something like that, where it's like these people might not even be talented. They could just be some fucking weirdos that the government goes, "Hey, do you want a bunch of money and you want to become a writer? You want to write the next generational fucking sci-fi novel?"
I don't know how much of it is going to be true or necessarily relating to that with the James Bond stuff, but one of the guys that I have in my presentation creates James Bond, and he
started getting on this.
He got his job completely through favors. And was in no way in a position to be making calls that he was making, and he informed like major decisions completely based on favors from royalty and higher ups. And
see, it's the same thing. Same thing with fucking like Elon or any of these other people. Like all their shit, they didn't make it. They like all their shit's fucking government funded. Same thing. They probably give him an idea. They go, "Hey, we've had this technology for 25 years because we're ahead of you guys. How about you start a company and start making this shit?"
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know.
Someone was trying to talk good about Elon, and someone was like, "Why do you think he's smart or something?" because he didn't make Tesla, right? And the guy was like, well, he made that rocket that lands. And the guy like completely forgot about that and was just like, yeah, but he didn't make Tesla, right? And it's like, well, I know that gets 9 out of 10 people.
Sure.
You got the one dude that was like, no, I was talking about the rocket.
Hey, I did see one of the coolest things I've ever seen in my life, which is a rocket fucking landing itself.
And then he was like, I don't even remember who it is, but I think it was someone I liked, but was just having a moment. But they started being like, why do we even need a rocket to do that? It's like, well, come on, man. Like,
What are we even doing here?
even if we don't need it to do that, it's rad.
Yeah. And it's also like, yeah, you don't have to rebuild the shit every time. Like, it's easy answers for these people.
I like
And also-
Power Rangers,
and
that's
also-
how that would do it. It
Yeah.
would land.
Exactly. And also, Elon might not have even, he probably had the idea of like, oh, what if we had the rocket land itself? And then you surround yourself with a million other smart people, and they go, we could probably do that.
Yeah, you get a bunch of Indian
have
and
a-
Chinese people.
Do you have $1 billion? Cool. Yeah, let's fucking make that happen, dude. Why not?
Isn't it fucked up that, like, you get all those smart people from India and China, but they come here?
They don't like work for their own government.
No, it's just weird. Like, you'd think if we're such the pinnacle of, like, where you come to, you think we would produce more people like that. It's funny that I guess we get, like, some people go to what is that, Oxford?
Yeah. The school in, it's like one of the oldest schools or something.
I learned in my research, it's not the oldest.
That shit started in like the 1300s.
There's some that are, I think it said it was the
1600s? I
third
don't know what it is.
oldest, I believe.
Maybe it was maybe it was like the oldest European school.
It was out
Okay.
of European
Yeah,
ones. Because who knows what goes on in Asia?
No
one even
You
speculates.
can't ask. No one wants
Yeah.
to fucking talk about it. You can't talk about shit.
They go, oh, wow, teaching's been going on here since 1000 BC. How incredible. And then they go, China invented writing a millennia prior. Like, they have great ships at this point. You're like, is there a class on that? No. It's like,
Dude.
how do you know it? Like,
That's like when you talk about, or when you hear about those stories of the Chinese like treasure ships. When China would just send out fleets of these massive ships, and they would stop in these other countries, and they would give them like, here,
just helping people out.
check this out.
Like
here's,
modern day Quetzalcoatl.
here's some stuff to get you started.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then at some point they go, hey, lock it down.
Maybe the Chinese descend from those people, even though they're usually depicted as, like, bearded.
Or maybe the treasure people were Tartarians.
Yeah, I wonder how
And they really-
documented the history of that is.
And maybe China isn't as old as we think it is, and it just started with those dynasties, and they really just took over the Tartarians. Or maybe, I don't know.
But then Russia would have to be in on it, because that's like Russia, China, right?
No, they're both they're
Tartars.
both communist.
Yeah.
Why is that the two main communist nations? So you'd have to probably be on the same side because you wouldn't mind be warring with each other.
Well, I was going to say, I wonder how much of them being together is just a matter of, like, necessity, because everyone else is together on, like, the Europe side.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
Japan after World War II. You know why Japan got into World War II on that side? Is because after World War I, they helped us, and we, like, invited them to some conference to be, like, as a show of, like, yeah, you did good and helped us. And everyone's bringing up their things they want to add, and the one thing Japan wanted to add was to have, like, a less of a racial stereotype when it came to allowing citizenship and, like, the travel. Like, they just wanted their guys to be able to visit other countries and, like, be able to have passports or whatever the fuck. And they were like, yeah, no, you're still gooks or whatever, basically.
I also heard that it's because they weren't backed by a central bank. They were still doing like their own.
That's probably the underlying. Like, this was from my mainstream doc. This isn't even like the
That is
actual-
interesting though, because I know Russia wasn't doing. They weren't dealing with that shit either.
Mhm. But then, yeah,
It's
World War II
interesting.
rolls around, and they were like, oh, we get a chance to.
It's weird China stayed out of all that.
Well, I think that was like the weird time where they weren't doing good, right?
I don't know.
Because they shut their doors after years
Well, I
of
know
the trade.
I think they were warring with Japan or something, or Korea.
Well, I think Japan in between World War I and II that's when they do the rape of Nanking and like they're invading Japan and or Japan invading China.
Yeah.
I think that happens in between 1 and 2. So I don't know what China's up to, but
There's a cool movie, I forget. I think it's called like 800. I haven't seen it yet, but it came out in like 2020. But I think it's about that. Like the Japanese invading China. It just looks like some crazy ass. It looks like it's filmed really cool. What a crazy war that must have been.
how do you know who to shoot?
That's what I mean, brother.
You gotta have one team wear like bright red and the other team wear like bright blue. Like, you can't both be in camo. We'll be slaughtered. Yeah.
Guys, I got the perfect flank.
Yeah.
Mows down half your
Oh
squad.
my god.
Fuck!
What have I done?
Ming, no!
Yeah.
Oh my god.
The other army. We also have a Ming.
Fuck.
I don't know if I said this before. It's kind of what we're talking about. Like, I read the old books, and they all kind of get to where we get to with understanding shit. And it seems like they don't build on each other as much.
Understanding what?
Like, damn, it seems like there's all these similarities with the religions and the mythos. Like, that's weird. Like, all these people get to a point
of 100%.
like, yeah, shit's weird. And then nothing... They exist in book form. Like, all these books are by professors and legit people, and they exist, and then nothing kept happening after that until they got picked up by, like, Graham Hancock people, and now it's pseudoscience.
Yeah.
And I don't understand what happened in between, like, why, if it just became, like, yeah, those people were established already, so we had to keep listening to them, but new people coming in, you don't get to talk about. I don't...
You wonder if when, like, I don't know who developed other, like, the European school systems or anything, but, like, maybe it has something to do with, because I know our school system was made by, like, the Rockefellers and shit, who belong to, obviously, the Bilderberg group and all that. Maybe because they have hands on how what the kids are learning in history. Maybe they just have a hand on how history is written. So therefore they got their friends in the heads of all these archaeological, like, companies or whoever, like, runs all these, like, archaeological societies that go and investigate all this shit. Maybe they got their hands in that, so they're like, hey, this is how the history book is. Like, we're not straying from this. Like, I don't give a fuck what they say. We're gonna discredit them. That's pseudoscience. They're dumb as fuck. So then you wonder if, like, because we read all this shit and it gets to the plateau of, yeah, they're all very similar. It's like, is it because, like, it's the Graham Hancock thing where, like, people don't want to encrypt, like, you blacklist yourself or whatever? Or is it like...
they associate, like, if you say the word UFO, now you're crazy. If you say certain words, now you're
Or
crazy.
is this truly just a dead end? Like, do we hit a dead end at some point? And it's like, yep. Until they excavate more shit, we don't know.
But that's the thing, like, I'll read books from 1900 or 1950, and even if it is the case where, okay, we're waiting for more shit to get dug up, Göbekli Tepe gets dug up. Like, you'd think there'd be more of a concerted effort to keep... It's weird that this isn't the textbook, that you have to find, like, the Hamlet Mill book that was two independent researchers that did all that shit. You know, it's just weird that it exists in, like, the sides, the peripherals of thing, and isn't the main focus.
I think it's also because it's so slow. You know what I mean? Like, it takes, like, I remember watching some video about this dude was a biologist, and, like, his kid was in a biology class. It was about blood in your veins. The teacher's teaching how the blood's blue. When it hits oxygen, it oxidizes and it turns red. The girl comes home and tells the dad, and he's like, that's not true. Like, that's proven wrong. And she's like, oh, she tells the teacher, and she's like, no, your dad's wrong. She's like, my dad's a doctor. Like, he's a biologist. The dad comes into school.
Meanwhile, your teacher's a girl that was getting cummed on in school and decided to 2 years in to just switch her major to being a teacher because she doesn't even really care that much about it anyway. And summer's off will be nice. That lady is going to act like she knows more about it. She's been teaching the same fucking textbook for 9 years. Like,
that's the guy's point, is that he comes in then for like a career fair or whatever, and he brings like tubes of the tubes, and he's like, when we take a blood test, or when we extract blood, it goes in this tube. It never hits oxygen, right? It's red. It's red. Wrong. He's like, your textbooks, medicine and technology and just history, everything, it advances so quick that the books can't catch up because your book's from fucking 1990. Like, I remember getting textbooks and they're falling apart. And they're like,
oh, yeah. I get that aspect of the school can't afford new textbooks every year. But also things are digital now.
Yeah, but it's like, why? So then the end of the story is that, like, the girl gets a test. She answered one of the questions is, what color is your blood? She puts red. She gets it wrong. And there's a big, like, debate about that. But it's a thing of, like, well, why are they teaching wrong shit? Like, that's an easy one. Imagine what other shit we've been taught that's like, oh, that's all horse shit. Oh, that's all been proven wrong? Like, well, why teach it then? That was a waste of Why'd I go to class for an hour and a half every other day? Like, I don't know. It's just weird. I had a weird Big Lebowski thing. I heard it was like a weird fan theory that, you know, Donnie? Shut the fuck up, Donnie. Apparently that's a figment of Walter's imagination. Donnie's not actually there.
Why does
nobody acknowledges him? Dude doesn't look at him when they're when he gets shot by like the nihilist dude. That's not like nobody really reacts. When he's like dumping the ashes and shit, dude's like, all right, come on, let's get the fuck out of here. Like, I don't know, it's just weird. Like, and then you watch the, I want to rewatch the movie, but yeah, apparently nobody acknowledges him except Walter. And it's literally just him being like, shut the fuck up. Cause it's like, oh, that's the voice in your head. Yeah. That's that Vietnam or whatever. Like, you're fucked up.
Have you heard the theory that Donnie and Big Lebowski is just a figment of their imagination?
I've heard that, but I don't think it really works. Somebody else said that. I think either, I don't know if it was the Coens or Goodman. One of them was like, yeah, it doesn't really make sense. Because they fight and he dies and then they have ashes and all this stuff. Yeah. Like, he's quite in there and he does respond sometimes.
You've been in the Bilderbergs. If it ain't Bilderberg, which interesting, they say all roads lead back to Rome. All roads lead back to Bilderberg.
In the Netherlands.
In the Netherlands.
Where the first meeting was held. You know why it's the Bilderberg group?
The first meeting was in the hotel.
In the Netherlands.
I was watching a great documentary about that. And now, realizing now, in the middle of watching that documentary, I learned a really fun fact, and I was like, that's sick. I should write it down. I'm like, no, then on my phone at night, I don't want to do that. I'll remember it. Gone.
It's tough.
Yeah.
I've been trying to keep my notes open on my phone to eliminate like one more extra second because I can only keep it in my brain for like a second.
Mm-hmm. That's why I've been wanting to use the mini. You remember my mini notebook? I can't.
No, I bought them too. It's just not feasible.
It's not. Yeah. You look like a fool pulling this thing out, writing notes.
You look like somehow a pedophile or something. Like, even though it doesn't make sense, like, what would you be doing? Drawing? You look like you're doing something not.
Yeah. What are you writing down? Yeah. And the second anybody asks you, you gotta fucking. Oh, it's my idea book.
It's just this.
What are your ideas?
They're all racist.
Oh, it's a terrible.
It's basically a book of slurs I wrote, but
it's horrific.
Something between a book of poetry and hate speech, but it's really for my eyes only. Do you know anything about Dave Portnoy, the Barstool guy? He's been a huge fag lately.
Oh, about the Israel shit?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I can't. I remember he was gonna send a dude. He's gonna pay for a guy to go to Auschwitz.
So that was the thing before this one.
Okay.
Yeah, and he thought it was in Germany. Now he was arguing with some dude about I don't even know I just know the clip that was going around. The dude's whole point is like people should be able to joke around about things, which Dave Portnoy has also been that dude for years, but not when it comes to Jews, obviously. So the guy's that he's arguing with, his whole point's just, yeah, yes, I think people are allowed to make jokes and make fun of different people. And Dave Portnoy is screaming at him and goes, so how many Jews have to die before it's enough?
Oh my.
And it's like, is that legitimately how your brain works?
What a fucking fag. Like, come on. Like, what are we doing?
So, just wanted to give a quick shout out to Crack Amico, dropped the sick Dave Portnoy diss track. I'd like to think I'm probably in the top 5% of Crack Amico listeners. You know what would be funny? What's that one? We Gotta Start the Fire? Is that the name of the song? It'd be fun to do like a Jewish history, not American history, but do it to this song. Yeah.
That's good. We didn't start the fire.
First they had greenbacks, we made it dollars, we took the gold away, and then we ran and ran and ran.
I like that.
In the tunnels, we ran so fast, away from Germans. Could Hitler have been right? We'll never know. He's in Antarctica, frozen for us, millennia. good.
This song is a banger.
Oh, yeah.
I want those little, like, finger symbols. It might be Gypsy. Which, I mean, you're...
Fled to Argentina.
Different name, same stash.
They said we killed the bad ones, but then they ran NASA. No, I'm not a Rothschild. My name's just Glenn. Definitely not a Rothschild.
I say we're all bankers. They don't know me.
My trust fund's only $1 billion.
I would love to learn how to do that. What's that? Hoofing? Like the Three Stooges?
I don't think you can call
You ever see that?
Jews dancing hoofing.
Well, they're Jews.
That's a very it's like calling them Baphomet, that they have goat feet.
Ooh, that is true.
They're the devil. I was thinking for today, maybe we would just introduce some of the players, and then by next time we can like get into the plot more.
I like that.
Okay. So that's why I want to give background on the people
Yeah.
to show
This is good because I'll finish that documentary.
it's not all just like random. Like, because when I watch these things, you just hear the names. And
Oh, it doesn't fucking mean anything.
So, yes, if you look up Bilderberg Group, it says this guy made it.
I hope this jogs my memory of what my thing was.
All right, so as far as like the plot, Prince Bernhard was driven out of the Netherlands by the German invasion during World War II. He went to London and asked to work in British intelligence. The British Navy and later the Allied Command did not trust him with sensitive information because he was German.
Obviously.
That's where we're at plot-wise. So who is Prince Bernhard? He's a German prince who married into the Kingdom of the Netherlands. He married Princess Juliana, who's the daughter of Queen Wilhelmina.
Wilhelmina.
Yeah, probably that. So this dude, card-holding member of the Nazi Party,
Obviously. Of course he is.
denied being an actual Nazi, said, whoa, I only had that card because you needed it to get into college, which I think might be true at the time. So
At this point, it's a COVID card.
yeah, which, you know,
You vax, baby?
I had a vax card, and
Yeah.
so who am I to judge? Who am I to throw stones? So despite denying his being an actual Nazi, so you go, okay, maybe he's not, maybe that was just the thing you had to do. But then you go, oh wait, he had friends and family who were Nazis. Some of them good enough friends and family to be at the wedding, just having Nazis over. Because this was a royal wedding, a German prince, they had to see the head of the state, who was Adolf Hitler.
Obviously.
So this guy has a meeting with Hitler, and Hitler says later in life, he recalls that this guy told him on the side, was like, when I'm in the Netherlands, I can, push for you guys. I can, get Germany looking good. So, not looking good on the Nazi stuff.
No.
Just, the historians say that once Germany started fucking up the Netherlands, he, really switched or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. Around 42, for some weird reason, the Queen, he's supposed to be an honorary general because he's royalty. He's not up through the ranks.
Yeah, he's not. He never went to boot camp. He never did any of that.
For some reason, she dropped the honorary. So all of a sudden, he's a general, and it's the Queen did this by going around Parliament and the ministry. So she kind of circumvented government by
Can you
doing
imagine
this.
this fuck in the room making battle plans? What if we pushed him this way?
This is who James Bond might be based on.
Shut the fuck up. This guy?
It's so...
The German prince?
Potentially. Important to note, he was secretary to Queen Wilhelma at one point. It's important to note, because of a person we'll get to later, was also secretary. And this is where they interacted.
Hello.
I should probably move this up to over here with the Nazi stuff. He He was member of the board on Fokker and KLM Airlines, which is believed to have helped the Nazis escape to Argentina. And there was a pretty big Netherlands investigation into that.
Really?
Where the company itself was like, please, like, because we don't want anything to do, so, like, find what you find. Like, we don't want, no, like, if that's in our past, we have no idea about it. Like, whoever owned it at the time, like, maybe, you know?
That's...
So, but it seems like that's pretty, so, I mean, he seems like he's kind of a Nazi.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, well, brother, I mean, fuck. So fucking A.
Just...
The man's a Nazi.
I gave him every chance I could.
Cool, easy.
All right, so...
Hey, check that off.
The Germans are invading.
German Nazi prince.
The royals, they go... all the European royals are holed up in London and England. This guy's going to go work for the British Navy and Allied Command, but they're more hesitant about his Nazi-ness.
Well...
First, King George vouches for him to get him, like, in the door.
He's good.
King George VI. Why would he do this? The only possible reasons is because he is the son-in-law of a queen of Netherlands, so it's some type of royal favor between royalty.
Obviously.
Or because King George himself was part German from his mom's side.
I was going to say, plus we also realized that because of the mom, half these people are all fucking related. All these royalty people in all these different countries are all like the mom, like Victoria pushed all of her relatives out to be like, you marry this queen, this princess, this princess.
So that's what I mean by, like, it could just be some type of favor between the royals. He gets in the door from the king's recommendation or whatever. Churchill says, I still want him checked out.
That big ass cigar.
Who checks him out, Mark? Ian Fleming.
Ian Fleming.
James Bond creator.
Shut the fuck up.
This guy did nothing.
Are you serious?
This guy did not. This guy's running around with girls getting pussy, and his mom has to keep being like, you cannot marry that girl. Get back. You're going to work at you're going to be a stockbroker. And he'd be like, and be a stockbroker for a minute and be like, okay at it. And he'd, like, fuck up, and he'd have to get, like, a new job. Like, he's not a genius at all. Yeah, he comes from a rich family. His dad.
City of London. Banking family. City of London. City of London.
Later in life, he was friends with the Prime Minister of London, and he was close enough where the Prime Minister would stay at Ian's home in Jamaica on vacation.
Yeah, man.
We know what these elites do on islands.
It's disgusting.
So prior to World War II, like I said, his mom's getting him these jobs and stuff. He's a trust fund kid. Like, she threatened to take it away if he married the wrong girl. Shit like that.
Yeah.
Weird Daily Mail connection. This chick that Fleming has sex with a bunch, she married the guy who's the heir to the Daily Mail.
That's interesting.
That's why it's in italics. It means nothing, but I need it in there in case I need to Command F Daily Mail.
Yeah. Italics.
So by 29, he's recruited by the Director of Naval Intelligence.
John Godfrey.
Tremendous naval intelligence officer.
Beautiful man, John Godfrey.
Handsome fella. Godfrey was new at his job, and the guy told him, like, what he needed in an assistant. And on paper, Ian Fleming checks those boxes. He's also a stockbroker from the same place that from Eden.
Easy.
So the governor of the Bank of England, Montague Norman, recommends Fleming. This guy knows about Fleming because he's friends with Augustus John and Lord Dabernon, who fuck Ian's mom. He's friends with guys who fuck this guy's mom. And she gives that good head and has that good pussy.
Yeah.
Where his friends are convincing the governor of the Bank of England to get her kid a job.
Governor.
Ian's dad was in banking, so he could also just know the dad from. So for two reasons, he's just doing this family a favor and getting this kid a job. So when Churchill decides, like, yeah, get me this Navy officer to screen Prince Bernhard, make sure he's not a Nazi, and it's fucking Ian Fleming. Ian Fleming's only fucking there because he's been put there.
He's a nobody.
He's not a fucking
he doesn't know.
interrogate. He's not a fucking personality. He doesn't know shit about.
You're sending some dumb fuck in there to be like, hey, are you about by chance, are you a Nazi? And the guy goes, no. And he goes, no, he's cool.
Literally, it's the cool thing because Ian Fleming
he's a cool guy.
is trying to fuck chicks, and Prince Bernhard is a prince who fucks chicks and is cool.
He's cool as fuck. And
He's cool as shit. He's like a secret agent.
And you kind of have to be cool to be a Nazi at this stage.
At this level,
if you got to be a little cool.
He's a secret agent Nazi at this point.
You're a secret agent. You're basically James Bond.
He ends up being a part of all these different things: secret intelligence, joint intelligence committee, political warfare, special operations, prime minister staff. This fucking guy.
I love Allied Command. That's such a cool phrase.
Yeah, I like that one. He worked with FDR's special representative on intelligence. And in 1941, he went to the U.S. to help write a blueprint for the CIA. He helped inform our CIA policy, this fucking guy. He's like a hanger-on. He's just around.
A good guy, Ian Fleming.
Prince Bernhard is now in Allied Command. He's working with guys like Eisenhower. Yeah. Eisenhower's the commander there.
Yeah.
So he knows him.
Chieftain.
He knows guys like Walter Bedell Smith, who works there, and Alan Dulles. And we'll get to them in a minute. But first we need to set up a different player who's not directly involved.
Joseph.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'm calling him Joseph, but yes.
Joseph.
Redinger.
Joseph Redinger.
His father worked for a French-born Polish.
Władysław Zamoyski.
This count is mentoring him. This guy's a mortgage banker. If you couldn't tell by the name.
Count Zamoyski.
Not the best.
Not the best.
So Zamoyski, Mark, is known as the General of the Jesuits, which is another term for the Black Pope.
Yo, it's the army of the Vatican, brother.
So when he's growing up, he's in the capital of France.
God.
And he has this guy vouching for him.
This is disgusting.
So
I remember what the thing was. Keep going.
Oh, say your thing before you forget.
The Bilderberg group is a direct transfer of black nobility. It's the same people that came up from black nobility from like the middle, like the same that shit from Italy.
Templar just changed names to things.
Exactly. All those people went into Bilderberg group, and like a lot of this is now what black nobility is like the people in like Bilderberg group.
I'll have to keep an eye out for more black nobility stuff in my research. General of the Jesuits tells his other high ups in France, like, yo, I'm sending my colleague's son that I've kind of mentored.
Yeah. I'm
sending him to France, accept him into your like social circles, kind of, show him around, show him who to talk to, including a future prime minister, if I'm not mistaken. I need to reconfirm that one. 1910, went to London School of Economics, so now he's in London and he's socializing there the same way he did in France. He's out there, he's lobbying for Poland, but World War I rolls around and it's not anyone's priority. No one really cares about Poland, Poland was dealing with its own problems, but so they were entertaining it. World War I hits, now they're like, listen, man, get out of here. So he needs to take
Polacks out of here.
Well, that's what leads him to go talk to the Zionists, because they're the other people who are like, no one will listen to us.
No one's listening to us. We have so many good ideas.
We have a lot of complaints, and someone needs to hear them. So he begins being a middleman by 1916 for Austria, and he's trying to work out peace. I believe it's like the Austria-Hungary war conflict that's happening at this point.
Okay.
I probably deleted it to make space for the neatness of the line, which isn't good for history. But the downside of PowerPoint, you start deleting things to make it
fit nice.
But I just had a mass on. I started thinking this would be better to chop it up. Oh yeah, there you go. Austria-Hungary. So after failing to negotiate peace there, he had to leave, and he goes to Mexico. By way of Cuba.
I flee to Mexico.
On his way, and I didn't see anything about this. May be genuine randomness. I didn't see any conspiracy connection for this.
Yeah.
On his way to Cuba, he just meets this guy, Luis Moronos. I guess. Yeah, Moronos. who's
Luis Moronos.
a union organizer who would go on to organize for this guy who'd go on to be president, Elias Calles.
How do you say this dude's last name again?
Redinger? I don't know. I keep
Redinger.
going back on the G. Can't decide.
I would too, brother.
So he's on a mission to buy saddles from Texas. He gets arrested. He's there till 1928 before he goes back to Europe.
President Ricardo Henares Carreras.
So he goes back to Europe to be the president of the Polish Socialist Party in the UK.
Ugh.
World War II happens.
Imagine the smell in that place.
You remember where I'm from. Can't be too bad. So at this point, World War II, France surrendered to the Germans. Churchill had Redinger personally go get Prime Minister of Poland back to London.
Yeah.
And the two of them, because this dude can't speak English, Redinger becomes like his guy, where he can kind of translate for him. He kind of knows what's going on in the place, and he can kind of...
This is during World War I. Or is this post World War I? I don't know the dates on World War I.
This is World War II now. He was in London for World War I, and then Mexico. And then now he's coming back in 1924, I think it is.
World War II is in the 40s.
Yeah. He comes back in 24.
Oh, okay. Oh,
So then
yes.
at the time World War II happens where France surrenders to Germany, that's when he goes and gets this guy. And he knows this guy from back in the day. That maybe the 1916
That's
date?
what I was looking at. Yeah.
So he knows that guy from back then.
Okay.
So that's why he's like takes to him so quick, and he's like, "Oh, I've been in London for a while. Like I know what's up." So he starts going everywhere that the prime minister goes and talking to all these other world leaders.
Yeah.
He had a plan for smaller European nations to group up against potential threats from larger ones. So it's almost like a proto-Bilderberg group. But then after World War II, he realizes he's going to need to get America in it, too. It can't just be small European groups. It needs to be like all Europe and America.
You got to get the world,
against
brother.
Those guys, yeah. So
the bad guys.
they don't even see themselves as good or bad, I bet. They're just looking out for...
Oh, the better of humanity.
Yeah. So he helps found all these movements that are, like trying to keep Europe together and connected as one big thing. One world order. What? So we went to Churchill's kid, who was having a meeting between two groups that were doing like shit like that. Churchill's kid was the chairman and Redinger was the secretary of these committees. So he's got like direct line now to Churchill through his kid.
Yes.
Just to like show you like how steeped in power, like because these names carry no weight. You read Joseph Redinger and then you realize,
you're like, who the fuck's this guy?
He's in all, like his name doesn't pop up at in any heading, but his name is like a footnote everywhere.
These people are like deeply connected.
Yeah. At one of these conferences, he meets a guy named Paul Rikens. Rikens.
Paul Rikens, beautiful man.
Put him on a boat, send him back where he came from.
Couldn't pronounce his name. Sent him on the boat. Sent him back.
I asked him, if you go by Paul Johnson, you can stay. He said no. Said, head home.
Rikens.
And he also met Paul Van Zeelen, who is the Prime Minister of Belgium.
Belgian brother.
And Peter Fleming, Ian's brother. So
Loved his waffles.
The web. Peter Fleming's brothers.
Yeah.
Now he knows Ian. Who knows Prince Bernhard.
Yeah.
Who knows...
Imagine being connected to royalty like this. I mean, just golden tickets.
So now I think we're going to come back to Joseph,
Look at these pages.
To circle back to... Now, who's Paul Rikens? You go to Paul Rikens' Wikipedia, Mark.
I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't have a link.
Paul Rikens is the founding chairman of Unilever.
Unilever.
This much on Wikipedia. 3 sentences. Nothing.
For the company?
for Paul Rikins.
For Mr. Rikins.
You click on Unilink or Unilever, everything, all sorts of shit. For some, and all this shit that connects to him.
There's nothing.
He has no Wikipedia. So this is what I got on this fucker. Yeah, Paul Rikins.
This piece of shit. This fucking.
So like I said, founding chairman of Unilever. Unilever owns brands. Here's a couple name brands for you: Hellman's, Lipton's, Axe, Dove, Dawn, Q-Tips. They're the world. They own all the. This company owns ice cream.
Oh, is this the company with the U?
I don't know, but they bought up all the ice cream, Mark. Look at that lineup: Ben & Jerry's, Good Humor; Klondike, Breyers, Good Humor; Fudgesicle, Popsicle.
It's disgusting.
They bought up all the ice cream, and you don't even know how many brands are within those brands. This motherfucker was special advisor to Queen Wilhelmina. Remember who else was? Remember how Bernhard was her secretary?
That's how you fucking. That's what it is. This company. This fucking.
Yeah.
Yeah, they own everything. It's them and like 3 other fucking people.
Yeah.
These are the companies that like own Coca-Cola, and it's like, oh, well, Coke owns everything else.
Right.
So what the fuck are we talking about here?
So this motherfucker who has no Wikipedia page, he knows Bernhard from when they worked for the Queen of the Netherlands together.
Yeah.
Which it doesn't say that anywhere. You get what I'm saying?
Who's the founding?
Like, no
chairman?
one's- it
Paul
doesn't
Rikins is the founding chairman of Unilever.
Yeah. It was 2 companies. I think he worked for the Margarine Uni side of it, and then that company merged with the Lever Brothers company. But like I said, it doesn't say that anywhere that they know each other. You just have to like look and read like, oh, they both work. Of course they know each other when you read about it later that they're on the same
Obviously,
team. Yeah. So during World War II, he's on this council for the Dutch government of London, in London.
Extraordinary Advisory Council. Jesus.
And he's also a board member of the bank,
The Rotterdam Bank.
which is like one of the biggest cities over there, I'm pretty sure. I know that from
Rotterdam.
kickboxing, not history, so I could be wrong.
Beautiful city.
In 1934, this guy meets with Hitler. He doesn't have a Wikipedia mark, barely.
But he's met with Hitler.
That's the game. You click on Hitler, and Hitler wouldn't bring you back to this
Clicks
guy.
to Hitler. I've been playing it since you've been in grade school. It's a beautiful game.
So
You'd be surprised how easy it is.
here's his dealings with the Germans. This is in 1934. Unilever's second biggest market's Germany, behind England. So when this war happens, they can't just pull out because they have like factories and stuff there. So not only would they lose them, the Germans would take them and use them against them. So it's like same thing I did with Bernhard. You can kind of cut them some slack and be like, all right, like maybe they're not Nazis or whatever. Maybe this was just like what they had to do.
Oh, if you just had a company and you like were in Germany, you ended up being a Nazi sympathizer.
On that end, and then you're on the other side being like, hey, we gotta get these guys.
Yeah. But then you realize a lot of these people don't do that. A lot of people are just like, hey, what
Paul Rikins,
what gets me the most cheddar, baby?
name of the game. So you cut him some slack on that one. But same thing with Bernhard. Then you read deeper and you go, oh, well, Germany was making Jews sell their businesses for cheap. And Unilever was like, well, I mean, if that's, are you offering it for that? And the Jews are like, I mean,
If you're making us.
we have to, yeah. And they're like, well, I mean, yeah, I guess we'll buy it for that. So they came in and like bought up a ton of
Obvious,
Jewish
yeah.
businesses. And so that one, you're a little less like, all right, I don't know if that was the move to
It's
buy
a little
up,
fucked up.
to
Yeah.
invest in
Yeah.
Germany.
It's one thing to sympathize to keep your company alive. It's another thing to be like, well, let's take advantage of this opportunity we have here.
Perfect.
Boys, I mean, come on.
And then that Paul Van Zielen guy, like I said, Belgian prime minister, he resigned. He only worked there for 2 years because he got, in today's money, $250,000 from the Belgian National Bank. So man's just on the payroll.
Yeah, obviously. As they all are.
And then he's connected to Ministry of Foreign Affairs. He's connected to NATO.
Okay.
And he's on the steering committee of the Bilderberg Group. So then back to Redinger.
NATO, just a way to sell weapons to everybody. To keep the war going.
He's nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize, this guy. Doesn't get it. But like I said, he's like a footnote to everything. You don't read about him because he didn't win,
Yeah.
but you read about him at the bottom. This motherfucker had special access to the White House and the Prime Minister's office. He died in poverty, though, somehow. There were 5 British cabinet members at his funeral, but this guy dies in poverty. He knows all these high-up people, and he dies in poverty somehow. And then this was like another weird Daily Mail
Born to a rich Atlanta family. By 1915, she was a war correspondent for the London Daily Mail.
Yeah, that was a whole thing.
Colton half Calgary.
He goes on to
Have a Von in the name is really cool.
what's up?
Have a Von in your name is really cool.
Yvonne. Or Avon in your name,
Yeah.
I get or something.
Yeah, like Richard Von.
Doom.
Yeah, Victor Von Doom. Dick Von Doom.
Oh. Not
That's fun.
Not fun. Disrespectful.
Dick Von Doom. Hey, how you doing?
He just gets Sue Storm easily. It's not even like a thing. Hey, oh. Got your pussy hanging out.
Hey, yo, Toots. All right, keep going. I'm sorry. Dick Von Doom.
This is connected to this organization that's funded by Ford and Rockefeller. Former head of the OSS. He's connected with
Ford is in like Henry Ford.
his foundation. Yeah. The vice chairman of the organization was Alan Dulles, who becomes the first CIA chairman. Walter Bedell Smith, who becomes the first CIA director.
So all
Both of those two guys work under Eisenhower with Fleming and Bernhard.
yeah.
So again, all these motherfuckers know each other for years at this point. So that's why when this shit pops off, they're like, I got a guy,
Yeah.
I got a guy, I got a guy.
Who dropped the bomb? Eisenhower? Who signed on that? Or is that J. Edgar Hoover?
Truman, I thought.
Or
right?
Truman.
Right? Isn't he the guy holding the newspaper?
I think you're right. Is it Eisenhower after Truman?
I think Eisenhower's during because... Or I don't know, because he's a general, I guess, during, right? I don't know. I'm bad with president orders.
Keep going. This dude's got a hell of a page. This you might as well we might as well upload this to Wikipedia.
You want to know a retarded thing I wrote down from his Wikipedia?
Hmm.
He had a code name, his code name was Birch Tree. And I was like, how interesting to compare yourself to a tree. Almost biblical in the way. So, that's probably dumb, but I wrote it down.
Eisenhower was president 53 to 61.
So after. Yeah. This guy's grandpa was Jewish, but he converted to Catholicism back in 1827. Also, not, again, I don't know, I just wanted to note that. Not that it necessarily means anything.
Catholicism.
His brother ended up at the
Jesus.
University of Chicago,
Of course,
known
why-
Tartarian Institute.
Why wouldn't he? This is all in the 1800s.
Yeah, the American Dark Ages.
This is when the school is established. Also, like established. Who the fuck knows when the building's built? They don't tell you when the building's built.
And then these are more like just random facts about him. 3 months into this is back when he was younger.
Codename Birch Tree.
He went into Jesuit training because remember that was who his mentor was.
Yeah,
was
yeah.
the general of the Jesuits. So he goes into Jesuit training, and 3 months in, he goes, "Yeah, this isn't going to be for me." Then he met this guy who they claim put the idea in his head, but there's really no evidence for it, I guess. And then at 56, with no prior training, this motherfucker jumped out of a plane and parachuted into German-occupied Poland to help out his Poles. So this guy was about that life.
Damn. That's kind of cool.
He was a Freemason.
Oh, obviously. Of course he was. 33rd degree, I bet.
Just to weave that.
Yeah, just to put that in your
inject
fucking
that.
mind. What's this dude's name?
This is Joseph Rettinger.
This is the same fucking dude.
Joseph Rettinger. All right.
None of this on the Wikipedia page.
No, that's Paul Rikens. Yeah. That was the Paul Rikens detour, and then back in.
Wait, so this is the dude who starts Unilever, but is also
Paul Rikens is.
Oh, Paul Rikens. I'm sorry, Paul Rikens, Unilever.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
This is the guy who knows the Black Pope. Was raised by.
Yes, raised by the Black Pope.
Raised in the darkness of the Pope.
A lot of people don't want to talk about the Black Pope.
Krakow. So, Joseph Rettinger reaches out through Paul Rikens to Bernhardt, talking about how we need to. This is after World War II, 1952. So this is like all just to weave like who knows who and who's who at this point. Rettinger reaches out through Rikens to Bernhardt to decide like we need to get like this European American union. And then that's probably a good place to call it for there, right?
Are these the main players?
There's other people that worked with Bernhardt under Eisenhower that become the CIA people.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you have more slides?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's up to you. I can keep going if you want. I don't give a shit.
Do you think we would cut it into like the podcast part and then do this part? Could almost do two out of it.
If you want to.
At this, if I keep going, we totally could.
Go for like another half hour if you want.
All right.
Yeah, and then however you want to. If you want to do like the hour 40 pod, because I'm sure we can cut some shit out.
Yeah, I guess I'll see how long it is after I cut shit out. Because, I could probably put up, like, the regular first 40 or whatever it was, and then the back however long of this.
It's just like a separate video. You could even post them, like, if the pod's posted on Friday, you could do this one on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or vice versa.
All right, so Walter Bedell Smith. We know him because he worked with Bernhardt under Eisenhower for the Allied forces. In 1945, he and Bernhardt met with this guy Arthur Seyss-Inquart to negotiate the return of the Netherlands from the Nazis. This guy was an Austrian Nazi who was put in charge of the Netherlands and was like really high up, so much so that when Hitler made his will, he put him as the foreign minister because everyone like betrayed him. That's how like loyal this guy was being to a Nazi. Yeah. So Eisenhower really liked this guy, and he brought him with him. Like a lot of the jobs he got, he didn't want. Eisenhower was like, "No, I need you." He makes him the chief of staff. Then, on Eisenhower's recommendation, Truman makes him the ambassador to the Soviet Union. And when they make the CIA, Truman makes him the director of that, too. There was this, the Duelist report, which found that the CIA was failing. And that's when they brought him in, I think. And they made him, I think he's the second person to be the head of the CIA. This guy, William Harding Jackson, was made his deputy director based on a recommendation. We'll get to William in a second.
I love when people want to call, like, Elon or Trump a Nazi, and it's like, yo, these are Nazis.
Dude, he said crazy things.
Like,
when he was at the
Nazis.
Nürburgring trials, he was like, yeah, I mean, like, we did those things. Like, I understand why you're mad. Like, I get it, but, like, you have to understand where we were coming from.
I was following orders.
No, that wasn't his thing at all. That's what I'm saying. He was like, really believed in the cause. He wasn't like, oh, I was just doing. He was a real Nazi. To your point, he wasn't a just just protecting my family. He was a we need to get rid of him.
Yeah.
I get why you don't think so.
But this has to happen for the greater good of the world.
That was
let's be honest.
And he just took his, he was very gentlemanly in his hanging, they said, kind of. He said some polite shit and then just went about his business and died. He's like, I guess so, this is to be expected.
No. Christ.
So Battlesmith creates the Office of National Estimates under this Harvard historian who also worked at the OSS. The amount of people that went to Harvard or Princeton or Yale between all, they all go there, and then overlapping years, they all know each other there. They all know each other at work.
Well, that's the thing. They're surrounded by each other constantly.
It is.
They're
just
in the same
boys being boys.
They're in the same think tank. Who are you gonna hire? I'm gonna hire my friends.
Yeah.
Obviously. Why wouldn't you?
And
it
then,
just gets fucky when you get to a certain level. Where it's like, whoa, what the fuck are we doing here?
Like I said, this dude kept not wanting jobs, and they kept making them. So he eventually became Secretary of State under Eisenhower.
And if you don't want these jobs, you're gonna get in there and you're just gonna do whatever the fuck they want you to do. Mm. 'Cause you're like, okay, I don't give a fuck. Sure.
You taking the job is the first part of that, yeah.
Yeah.
You're doing what you don't want to, what they want. The other big name that they worked with at Allied Forces is Alan Dulles. I was halfway through researching him. He was at the Paris Peace Conference as the American delegation, which I think that was one of the initial UN prototype thing. That was one of the first we need to come together as some type of union to be able to talk about shit. So he was there for that to see the seedling of that. He was the director of the Council of Foreign Relations, this motherfucker.
Of course.
He met Hitler, Mussolini, and the leaders of Britain and France and the ambassador to the Soviet Union. He met them at the League of Nations. And
the League of Nations?
This was the dude I was telling you on the phone. JFK fired him over the Bay of Pigs things when he was the head of the CIA.
Yeah.
Like I said, I didn't finish all my research on him, so I didn't get to when he becomes the CIA. But he becomes the head. He's the first head of the CIA. JFK shit cans him for the Bay of Pigs thing.
Because he doesn't want to do any of that.
Yeah. And then
he sees through the bullshit.
JFK sees through the bullshit, which, because his dad was on bullshit time, so he probably knows what it is. Somehow there's no conflict of interest. Dulles becomes part of the Warren Commission that investigates JFK's assassination.
It's almost like giving the guy that planned the assassination the ability, hey, how about you investigate what happened? He goes, I'll tell you what happened, brother. That window's wide open.
Yeah. I think I heard a couple shots.
He was shot 3 times.
Yeah.
What? How did he do that? He was good.
Real good.
He's a good shot.
Probably the mafia. It's probably this guy, right?
Yeah. This son of a bitch.
He's got 3 names, like the guy that killed Lincoln. And all that jazz.
Who's this Jack Rubenstein fellow who kills the shit?
Rubenstein.
That was his real name?
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that fucked up? Like Rubyberg or something. Rubensburg.
So, when Redinger reached out through Rikins to Bernhard, they had that initial meeting, and then they, along with Van Zeelen, the Belgian prime minister, so now it's the 4 of them, were like, all right, so we agree, and they start assembling the Avengers of who's going to be on this team. Redinger eventually would go to the U.S. himself and talked to Bettel Smith and Alan Dulles, who he knows through Bernhard now. Bernhard passes it along. He goes, oh, we're going to want this guy named Charles Douglas Jackson. Oh, Princeton's the other big school.
Princeton, yes.
We see Charles Jackson, who's on every fucking thing to do with, like, media, psychological warfare, anything. He does, like, speech writing. He's just, like, how do we, like, propaganda and shit like that, psychology. He's all up in that shit. Office of War Information. This, Schaff, however you want to say it, that pops up a lot. A lot of those people we talked about are part of that. Bernhard was a commander there, so he already even knows Bernhard. That's why, like, when you hear the one dude say, like, oh, we got to get this guy, and you're like, oh, he must be good at his job. It's like, he's probably good at his job, but he's also, like, a dude that knows this dude and is, like, down.
Yeah, exactly.
This dude was the managing director of Time, like, magazine.
Yeah.
Which is, like, huge at the time.
Obviously, yeah.
You know?
That's the fucking thing.
Yeah, it's, like, the, shit.
Time magazine.
So, he's president of the Free Europe Committee, like, against communism. He's Eisenhower's speechwriter, again. So when Bettel Smith grabs him, it's because he's down with Eisenhower on the team. Eventually, he becomes Eisenhower's liaison between the CIA and the Pentagon. So Mans is all sorts of connected.
Yeah.
Psych warfare. He was part of this committee known as the Jackson Committee, whose chairman was William Harding Jackson, who would also be brought on board, also from Princeton and Harvard. This dude went to the last guy, like, all 4 years overlapping with the last dude. So they're pals.
Yeah, they've been together. They went through school together.
He's part of all this shit. He also knows the Prime Minister Eden, who fucking Bernhard knew, or who Fleming knew, who vacationed on his fucking house in Jamaica.
Yeah.
Prime Minister.
Yeah, man. Bomboclad.
They own Jamaica. He could stay wherever. He stays with Eden Fleming. I don't know shit about anything, but I'm like, if I was a prime minister, I'd stay in the nicest penthouse.
Obviously.
After the military, he becomes an investment banker, obviously. He was part of the report that criticized the CIA. It had him, like, restructure to get the Bettel Smith dude in charge. And to get Dulles, because Dulles had to get fired by JFK.
Yeah.
So he made sure, like, they got the right guy in charge. This dude became the deputy director of the CIA. So all are, like, intelligence dudes.
Yeah.
And the first one, like, what's baked into the roots.
Yeah.
These were the Bilderberg
Who's creating,
guys.
who's creating the corporate structure of the CIA and all these intelligence groups and, like, what their main objectives are.
Is associated with what these guys want. Yeah. The prime ministers and the princes of Europe and the Rockefellers, like, so it's the
Rothschilds.
They somehow got, like, the military dudes who are good at their jobs to work, who work for the government. They somehow got the government to be like, well, we'll go to a committee with these other people, and they're not, in the military, but they're, powerful players, and they might have interesting things to say. And they somehow got those people to be like the pseudo generals, basically. And have them control guys who then go back to the CIA, and it's like, oh yeah, the Queen of the Netherlands wants us to do this.
And you know what else is fucked up about all this shit? Is that no media is involved. Like, this should be on a world stage. If you have these key players of the fucking world who's manipulating everything that affects our lives,
is like public. They act like
they put their fucking agenda up, and then they put their agenda up, and I think they put up their attendee list.
They say you can.
Why isn't there a recording of what they're talking? Like,
they say their rule is that people can talk about what was said, they just can't say who said it, and it's like, that's a pretty fair rule. I just don't hear anyone ever talk about what was said.
Nobody talks about it.
Yeah.
No. And if they, but then it's also like, okay, well, give me a transcription of
Right.
everything. Like, why
With
isn't
no
this
names,
why
yeah.
isn't this available?
It'd be interesting.
It would be because it's like,
You know, they would just record some bullshit and then be
oh,
like,
100%. Well, that's the thing too, is that it would just be a lie.
all right, unzip
Yeah.
lizard.
Yeah, exactly. We would get the shit and it would just be a lie. But no, it should just be, I don't even get why they have to say why they have to blur who said it. Like, you guys are affecting the entire world. Like, I don't know.
56, he resigns from his banker job to be special assistant to Eisenhower. Nelson Rockefeller's who's the guy he's replacing. Oh, what's it called?
Shares suck.
2 months prior to Nelson Rockefeller quitting, he quit his job. Almost like he knew he was going to get, like, made this position. He became president of Foreign Affairs. He represented the president at the Operations Coordinating Council. All these things are like the above board Bilderberg. These are like the official meetings between them. And then they're like meeting the guys and kind of side-eyed and being like, man, we're doing our own thing. This dude would get invited to cabinet meetings and National Security Council meetings, and he was the National Security Advisor for a year or two. And then back to Charles Douglas Jackson.
C.D. Douglas.
Worked for the United Nations.
C.D. Jackson.
This motherfucker bought the Zapruder film of JFK getting assassinated. He bought it. It happened on a Friday. He buys it. He watches it on Sunday, locks it in a vault. This motherfucker who just knows all these people that we just talked about, and like the one dude who already had a thing against Kennedy and who's on the Warren report that's not going to find anything.
Lock that up.
Hey, buddy, it would really help me if that film doesn't get out. Hey, I'll throw the fucking thing in the vault.
Don't even worry about it. Have we ever seen the Zapruder film? Was that released?
I don't know JFK stuff well enough to know about that.
I was gonna say, is that the one video we always see? If it's
I assumed it was, but as soon as you said that, I was like, oh, I guess I don't know.
Yeah, keep going.
So yeah, that's as far as I got right now. Is they're filling out the Avengers team.
The Zapruder film was the one we saw.
Okay, cool.
The classic.
Everyone's favorite. Yeah,
Joseph
I just
P.
wanted to show like how fucking
interwebbed everybody is.
everyone is
Yeah.
on the team. Because when you look up the Bilderberg group, it says Bernhard hits everyone up, and it's like Bernhard's like half a dickhead though.
Yeah.
It's Redinger that calls the meeting. Bernhard's the dude that goes and runs back to the Allied command and it's like, yo, Bettel Smith.
He's the
in
face
duels.
man. He's like the he's in front. He's
he's
Bush.
better,
He's
better
Bush.
at that.
Bush,
Yeah.
baby.
Where Redinger's like this Polish, like fucking old man at this point who's like,
The Slavic elder.
sure, really dressed that up. You like insulted and then made it good.
Slavic.
Well, the way you say it.
The Slavic
Yeah.
elder.
You say it like you're...
Piece of shit.
So yeah, this dude's like the guy who really pulls it together. So he sends Bernhardt to go get like the American dudes, and then eventually he even goes and like talks with them, and then him and Rykins and Van Zeelen go and get like other powerful European people, and then it leads back to the Bilderberg first conference in '54. And that's about as far as I got.
Yeah.
I got to look into a couple more of the players, but eventually that is going to connect to 9/11, which is going to connect to the cubes, which is my original point of research.
Yes. Which is it's the Cuban Mecca.
And you hate to see how much the Jews come up. I'm never rooting for it.
Well, that's the thing. We're not looking into we don't.
I'm
want
not
that
like
to be
Jews
the thing.
bad.
No, it's what comes
question
up.
mark.
It's
yeah.
the thing.
I look up this, they're there. I look up that,
Yeah.
they're there.
But that's what's fucked up.
Pyramids,
Is that,
aliens.
yeah, pyramids. Yeah, I'm trying
Tunnels.
to find fun things.
Yeah.
You look up a tunnel, you find out there's a heap crawling out of it. You're like,
With a
what's
stroller.
What's going? Yeah, with the
Whoa.
stroller and the baby carrier.
What are you on, some Star Trek shit?
Yeah, exactly. Beautiful, delicious.
To lead with delicious.
Delicious.
It almost dulls everything else he says after. 'Cause
Delicious.
He leads with delicious.
It's fucked up. I think that was good. We'll see you fuckers next week. Stay black.